Hello, Gene Schwimmer here. Welcome to today's vlog. If you've been following the vlog for the last few days, then you know that I'm visiting New York. I live in Tennessee, which you would know if you have been following the vlog for a while. If you're new to the vlog, consider yourself now brought up to speed. It turns out that today actually is my last full day in New York. Tomorrow morning I fly back to Tennessee. So I'm going to try to make this vlog short because I have to meet some people for dinner. Then I'm going to have to pack and get ready to be picked up by a friend of mine in the morning. Also, I thought, well, I watched part of the impeachment hearing today, the impeachment so-called hearing, I should say, and I wonder if everybody else is getting as bored with this as I am. So far, the main effect of these hearings, besides boredom, is that I just saw a poll or an article about a poll. Wisconsin, Donald Trump has pulled ahead of the major Democratic candidates. He's pulled ahead in Wisconsin. He was behind up until now. That's been the main effect of these hearings. They are really, well, let's just say it doesn't seem to be going well for the Democrats. So I am going to take a break from talking about the hearings. Everybody can have a nice Thanksgiving, and then it's going to go to the Judiciary Committee, which is where it should have been in the first place. Well, actually, what they should have done, what the Democrats should have done, or the Democrats and the Republicans together, actually, which is how it's supposed to be, to keep it bipartisan, is to do what has been done in the Nixon impeachment inquiry and the Clinton impeachment inquiry, and, well, the Russian collusion hoax, too, to hire an outside counsel to objectively look at the matter and then submit a report noting any impeachable offenses. It's obvious to me, and it must be to the whole country by now, the reason that the Democrats did not appoint an independent counsel to look at this is because they were afraid of what that independent counsel would find, which would be exactly nothing. Also, it would take, well, if it's like the Mueller report, it would take 2 years. They're in a rush to impeach Trump before the election. But, well, I said I wasn't going to talk about the impeachment hearings, and now here I am talking about it. I want everybody to have a nice Thanksgiving. Hopefully there will not be too many political arguments over the Thanksgiving table. And then it goes to the Judiciary Committee, as I said a few minutes ago, where Jerry Nadler is the chairman, and I expect more fun and games over there. So enjoy your Thanksgiving, and if you have any popcorn at your Thanksgiving dinner, save it, because you may want to consume some as you watch the hearings. So what I want to talk about now, briefly, I just thought I would lighten it up. I want to reply to a commenter. I do every so often. First of all, as always, I thank people who take the time and the trouble to comment. So thanks to him K. That's the commenter. I'm going to put up the comment in a second. But this is about Iraq and Iran, or I guess, as you'll see in a minute, I should say Eeee-raq and Eeee-ran. This is about Eeee-raq and Eeee-ran, about a vlog I did a few days ago. So this is the comment from him, K. I wanted to give you a chance and hear you out, but once you started mispronouncing Iraq and Iran, I stopped listening. That's what made me scratch my head, because I mispronounced the name of a country. Then instead of just correcting me on the pronunciation, and by the way, a lot of people say Iraq and Iran. I believe even presidents have done that. It's just come into a common usage. Sometimes, as you'll see in a couple of minutes, that just happens, that one country gets into the habit of pronouncing the name of another country differently from how the natives of that country would pronounce it. I'll get onto that in a second, but Him K's comment reminded me of a story, of something that happened to me, so it's not a story, it's a true story. When I was younger, my younger days in my hometown of Detroit, I was a bartender for a while in a disco bar. there was one of these fleet, I don't know what you'd call it, a fleet festival or something, where ships, it was wooden sailing ships from all over the world, from various countries. Apparently, the navies of these various countries, they maintain at least one wooden sailing ship that they sail around the world to different ports of call, I guess, for good relations or whatever. So they were in Detroit, because Detroit is on the Detroit River. There's a river there. It's between the U.S. and Canada, between Detroit and Windsor on the other side. So we had among the country's sailors, they all came into this disco to dance and drink, meet girls, etc., because American girls are the best in the world. I think we all agree on that. So they were here, and they were talking about my city, Detroit, but they pronounced it Detroit. Detroit, because if you look at the spelling, Detroit, that's how a Frenchman would pronounce Detroit. Also, it was a French, well, it wasn't a French city, it was a French fort. It was Fort Detroit. Detroit, as I understand it, means between the straits, but in any case, it's a French name. It was originally a French fort, then the British conquered it, and then the Americans conquered it. The British left, and we've always pronounced it Detroit. That happens all the time. Now the point is, well, that's just how we pronounce it. But if a French person comes over and says Detroit, I don't get bent out of shape over it. I just correct him, say, well, we call it Detroit. It's an understandable error. No harm, no foul. So that's just what I find amusing, refusing to listen to what somebody says or is going to say, the substance of what somebody's going to say, because in the first sentence that person mispronounces the name of the country. But I can understand how there are some people out there who could be offended by this and then won't want to listen to one of my vlogs or watch one of my vlogs because I mispronounce country. So I just want to give everybody a fair warning. So for instance, if I talk about the country where they have cheese and wine and croissants, I won't say Francais, I'm going to say France. If I talk about the capital of Francais or France, I'm not going to say Paris, I'm going to say Paris, because that's the way I've always pronounced it. If we talk about the country where sushi was invented, I'm not going to say Nippon or however it is. I'm going to say Japan. Cuba, I pronounce Cuba. Mexico, I pronounce Mexico. Deutschland, I say Germany. That's all I wanted to just get off my chest. If anybody is offended, if there are any Deutschlanders out there who may be offended when I say Germany instead of Deutschland, I'm sorry. That's how I've always heard it pronounced. Just like I say often instead of often, because where I come from, that's how they say it. If you have a roof and you have more than one roof, it's not roofs. To me, it's roofs, because that's how we pronounce it where I come from. So I just wanted to get that out of the way, but in my own defense, just to reassure some people, I do pronounce the capital of Afghanistan, where people will sometimes say Kabul, I do say Kabul. I don't say Qatar for that country in the Middle East. I say Qatar. Just wanted to get all that pronunciation stuff out there. If I mispronounce some name of a place or a country or a city, and if somebody wants to correct me, then by all means correct me. I'm happy to be corrected. You don't have to get triggered and just angry because I mispronounce a name. And Iran and Iraq did not just come out of the thin air. I would be surprised if you can count enough people on one hand in the South, where I live, that say Iran and Iraq instead of Iran and Iraq. But I have been chastised, suitably chastised. Unless I forget, I will from now on say Eeee-raq, Eeee-ran, and if I slip up, then please forgive me. Feel free to correct me, and I'll just try to do better next time. And I'll also try to get all of you to give me a thumbs up if you like this video, to share it with anybody you think would like the video too. If you have any comments, especially if you want to correct any pronunciations of or mispronunciations on my part of any place, name, thing, whatever, then you can put that in the comments section. And when you're done doing that, or before you do that, you can subscribe and finally come back and see me again. I look forward to seeing all of you again. And until I do, bye.